They raise little boys wrong in the community because they teach them it's 3 things that they do: fight, fuck, and shoot. They don't need no correction. They don't need no help. We get guys on the gun range all the time. They don't want you to tell them nothing about guns.
Welcome back to We the People podcast, Tactical Talk for the Culture. In our last episode, we talked about being black in the gun community. If you haven't checked that out, please check that out. But this episode, we're going to talk about situational awareness. And I'm going to let my co-host introduce themselves, and we can jump right into the topic.
Nick Blackman. You can find me on Instagram, Phil Marber. Background, I've done some armed security, but beyond that, I'm just a regular guy.
Colin of Gunplay TV. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram. Class B competitive shooter, firearms instructor, and enthusiast.
Okay. Fred, the dad of the Survivor Sisters. You can find me on Facebook, The Survivor Sisters, on Instagram, the Survivor Sister Foundation. I'm a dad who loves to be able to protect the kids.
Yeah, Nick, you're not a regular guy, but I know you like to say
Far
that.
from it.
Yeah, but so last episode, Colin, you were mentioning a situation, and we're talking about situational awareness in this particular episode. I took my son to Chicago last weekend, and we were just outside, just chilling, and everybody had their heads down, like in their phone, just like the heads down. And I had to tell them, like, put your head up, bring the phone to your eyes instead of being hunched down. You can't see what's going on. So I just noticed that everybody is like all into their phones and not seeing what's going on, and how we can get so wrapped up in this virtual world that we're not seeing what's going on around us. And so I want to talk about, how steps that we take to make sure that we consciously evaluating situations and being ready for something to pop off.
Yeah, so you mentioned the phones. I think that's probably the biggest thing, the biggest distraction in today's day and age. But with firearms, being prepared for an inclement scenario, right? Having your eyes up is at least 50% of it. Now, with that, I think a lot of it is subliminal, right? As firearms owners, right? I've heard it said, right? You carry the firearm because it's not a weapon; it's a shield, right? It's a protection against that negative scenario, right? And so situational awareness, right? And maybe I'm bringing this in too soon, but I think oftentimes it's not only what you're looking at, but it's how you're being perceived, right? If you're walking with your head down, you're slouched, your body language is that of a victim.
Lick.
Right. A lick, as it were, right? A lick, as it were, right? You're inviting those negative scenarios. So, keeping your head up, walking with your chest high, having that unspoken confidence goes a long way. And I think that's an often not discussed part of situational awareness, right? Not only do you want to keep your head on a swivel, but you have to understand that there's people swiveling their heads and they're looking at you as well.
Yeah.
Fred, how would you define what situational awareness is?
I think situational awareness is one of those things where people are too comfortable in the environments that they live in. And so when they go out into the world, they still go into the world of ideologies as if, that the world outside is going to treat them like the world does inside. And so I think we do that with our kids. And that's one thing I find with my kids. We do gun stuff all the time. But outside of the range, guess what? They do the same thing. And it's just because you at the end of the day, if I'm with my dad, he going to do all the busy work.
Right.
And you're trying to train him to do that because you want him to be able to adapt to whatever situation they're in. People can adapt because a lot of people don't want to deal with the reality that the world is a dangerous place.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of people who have been lulled into this comfort of, I'm a good guy and good things are going to happen. That's the thing that usually get people, in those situations where they be prey. So, for gun guys, I think we have like a dual sword. Because if I'm not situationally aware and I get into a situation, I'm going to have to talk to a whole bunch of people about my reaction to this situation.
Yeah. We talked off camera previously about a story you told about your daughter being at a party. Mm-hmm. Can you bring that up? Because I told my wife about that. I was like, that was a good point.
Yeah, and like my daughter is one of those people. She's 18 now, so now she has a car. She's in college. You know, she can move around without me.
Right. She out in the world.
She got a world now.
Yeah.
She got a little world. So she decides she wants to go to a party in Atlanta. So she goes to Atlanta. She goes to this party. She goes into the party, and everybody in there has a book bag. Okay. So she sees the book bag, and of course, you got all these 18-year-old kids in there with AR-15 pistols in the book bag. So for her, she freaks out because she's been around gun guys her whole life. And that's not how gun guys carry their rifles. So for her, she calls me on the phone like, Dad, like, I had to leave. Like, I just couldn't be there. Because you don't want to be the kid who is a safety Nazi trying to tell people all this stuff, or you know it all, so you just leave. But that situational awareness when you can say, I'm not confident enough that you're confident enough that you know what you're doing.
Right.
How do we get kids to believe that? Remember, people raise their kids wrong. And I'm gonna say this right here, especially little boys.
Yep.
They raise little boys wrong in the community because they teach them it's 3 things that they do that really you don't have to get no training on, because dad's probably getting no training on it. These little boys feel like this right here, that they were born to do 3 things: fight, fuck, and shoot. And they don't need no correction. They don't need no help. We get guys on the gun range all the time. They don't want you to tell them nothing about guns.
No, that's right.
Okay, so the thing about it is since they feel that they know that, they don't need situational awareness either. But that's understandable. Like when you have that firearm in your hand and you have to use it, there are people you're gonna have to talk to.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And that's what people don't. I don't think people never talk about that part of defending yourself. What if you defending yourself is not as clear as you think it is? So for us, you know what we have to do? We have to up our game in situational awareness, because guess what? That staccato you were talking about, do you really want that in the GBI hand? Because guess what? Now you got to talk to some people about that and spend another $25,000.
Right.
No.
And let's be real. Everybody's situational awareness is different depending on their environment.
Agree?
Some people are coming from inner city, more violent areas. Some people are coming from the suburbs. And so even their upbringing is going to be a little different, and the teaching is going to be a little different. Their levels of comfort and safety are going to be a little different. And so it's going to look different for everybody. And so it's one of those things where you don't, as gun guys, we are what if people.
Right.
Yeah.
We buy things for what if reasons. We prepare for the what if. We are the most what if people in the world. Half of this stuff, if you look up statistically, half of this stuff is not even going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not even going to happen.
It could. And that's why we do it. That's why
we
do it.
what if people. And so some of this situational awareness talk is not necessarily for a gun person. Are you conscious of the environment that you are in? Are you looking and making sure you're able to enter, exit a situation? Because let's be real, the last thing you really want to do is pull your gun out.
Amen.
That's the last thing you really want to do, unless you got money for that lawyer.
Even if you do, even if you do, I don't think that's something that you want to. Yeah. Like you said, a lot of people don't even look into right the costs, the legal battles, how long that's going to take. You may be arrested on scene, while an investigation is even if you were completely in the right. So it's a lot that comes to it, and to the topic of the show, right? Situational awareness may have got you out of the situation. On the front end, right? And you could have saved yourself a whole lot of trouble and never had to draw your firearm. And that's really what it's about, because it's about being, again, prudent, responsible, somber-minded, and just understanding the gravity of you're responsible for every bullet that leaves that chamber.
Yeah.
And it's not something to take lightly.
Yeah, it was an incident in my neighborhood, like shortly after you guys came to my house the last time, and I guess a person was driving real slow. I guess the speed limit was 35 and they were doing 25. And a person behind them was angry and was trying to like tailgate them, and he hopped out the car and he had a knife and he was banging on the window. And then they drove off, right? And I mean, this happened like outside of my neighborhood, and like my neighborhood's like really safe. Yeah. And so I'm thinking in my mind, like, okay, if it was me, I always got like 2 or 3 guns near me, right? I got one on me, one in my car, another AR in the back or something like that, So I'm like, I can handle that situation. But what if my son, like, he's 17 years old, like, how would have dealt with that situation? And the guy was trying to unlock the door and he had a knife in his hand. Like,
But that's what I mean when I say you have to be prepared to pay the cost of the consequence.
yeah.
Your 17-year-old son, the last thing you want him to do is pull that firearm.
Yeah.
Because the next 3 years, he going to be battling in the court. You don't know what that's going to do to you or your family mentally and emotionally.
Financially.
So some of the
situational awareness is an exit plan.
Yes.
If this happens, what do we do from here?
Yeah.
And so, you know what I mean? So you think about situations like that, is you got it on you. You could control that situation, but does it need to go there?
Right.
Yeah. When we were in Chicago too, like my son, he was with me, like I said, the lacrosse tournament, and we went through the old block, the hoods and all that stuff. And
What were y'all doing over there? But I know the tournament wasn't in O-Block.
Listen, first of all, Chicago is beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Like the media
South
makes
Side,
it to
though.
be like it's stuff popping off everywhere. It's beautiful, and it's a whole lot of money there.
Yeah,
Lots of
for
money
sure.
everywhere, right? But we was like, let's go venture off and see this, because he's a fan of the drill music and stuff like that. But I was telling him that when I'm pulling up to a stoplight, I'm not getting all the way back up to that car, back into the back of it. Like, I got enough room that if somebody hop out, I can dip
Get up
out.
out of
And
there,
I'm always keeping that space. I'm always doing that. And in every situation, I try to just make sure I got that space to dip out, and just teaching him how to look at stuff in different situations. So that's another example of situational awareness. But yeah, you got to always stay ready and just be able to dip off.
But that's even you knowing what O-Block is. You know what I mean?
This is true as well, because before you know to create that distance between your vehicle, you have to know where you are, right? Now, that I think what you're saying about the stop sign is good in general,
right?
But as somebody that you know where you were going, right, and your son knew where you were going, so you guys kind of had that predisposition. Right. But oftentimes, for better or worse, people end up in areas that they're not familiar with. These are situations that can be easily avoided just by better understanding where you are, where you're headed, where you're going to have to go through to get there, and what you might encounter along that road. So.
Yeah, 90% of the people don't know what O-Block is.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
No.
I mean, I think Chief Keef did a good job. Shout out Chief Keef, kind of making sure that's, I'd say that O-Block is pretty mainstream. I don't even listen to the drill music.
Yeah, but it's been But you can't have that. Listen, when somebody get ready to go do some dirt, they're gonna do it not necessarily in their hood. They do in their hood when they're doing like a rival thing. But if they're trying to rob you, they're not going to rob you in their neighborhood. They're going to my neighborhood.
Now, if you're in their neighborhood, you're not from their neighborhood.
If I'm in their neighborhood,
if you're in their neighborhood,
they come to the burbs.
I don't think that
they're
they
not
are
coming to Kennesaw.
Statistically, no.
Everybody knows in Kennesaw it's legal. It's illegal to not have a gun.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not anymore, but
it's frowned upon if you don't.
Yeah, no, it was legally that everyone had to own a gun in Kennesaw.
Statistically, crime is not done in the burbs.
It's typically local, right?
Yeah.
Like,
no, but you're not.
It's low
We're
income.
talking about what type of crime, like if it's a crime
violent crimes of opportunity.
But robberies,
right? Like
robberies.
So for example, right? You pull up 2028, 2024, Ford Raptor, and you riding through O-Block. They see that. That's not something that's normally around here. Immediately, my lights go off. He's not from around here. He probably doesn't know the drill.
Out of state tag.
And then they run down.
8 p.m.
I wasn't driving my Raptor. So.
I know.
Right.
But I'm saying if you pull up in the brand new spaceship, you know what I mean, and then like you're not aware of the fact that like this is a place of scarcity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You become a target, and that's situational awareness in and of itself. Like I said in the beginning, you have to not only have your own head on the swivel, but you have to understand there's people watching you. Yeah. And so how you present, I talk about, just putting yourself in positions to succeed and not be a target, right? Should you be able to wear $1 million in jewelry to O-Block? Probably. But should you?
Nah, you should.
Absolutely not. No. You dig what I'm saying? So it's one of those things.
Yeah, it's like going to the gas station at 11 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
You're not asking for anything positive. Like, just be in and out, be quick, be purposeful.
I guess I ask you this question, Nick. Like, what do you think about those people who they get a boost of confidence when they get a gun? Does the situational awareness go up or go down? Because I think it go down.
I think that's a positive thing because you now come into a feeling of power. And let's be real, statistically, most of the violence doesn't happen with people with registered guns.
This is true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when that again, I felt that same when I got my first gun. My confidence went from 10 to 20.
Yeah.
I was waiting for somebody.
Yeah.
I was waiting for somebody. Again, I was a younger guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I still think that is a good thing because you now know the control and power that you have as a person to change the outcome on something. Now the responsibility comes from are you doing it the right way or the wrong way?
And that's what I was going to say, because I want to say it's a double-edged sword. There's two types of people, right? There's some that buy a firearm and say, listen, I'm going to be that much more prepared. I'm going to be that much sharper for the inclement scenario. And then there's the guy that's looking for a problem now because I got the means to handle it if it goes left.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? So it's like, I think, you know, there's a responsibility component, like you said.
That's why I say environment.
Right.
So you
That guy in the burbs that buys that gun,
Oh, yeah.
you're gonna feel a little different than the inner city kid.
For sure.
Who's amongst that type of energy. You're gonna feel a little different. You're gonna move a little different. And so that's why I say situational aware. It really depends on where you are, what type of environment you're coming from, how you perceive the world.
I agree.
You know,
I think it's maturity. Like
Yes.
you know, like you said, when you were young and you first got it, you know, you're not mature. Like you buy guns and you're not mature. Like, because once you buy the gun, you buy the staccato, then you're like, I don't want to get it taken. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I bought the Glock first.
Yeah.
it's the black gun.
Great choice.
It for sure is. It's better than a high point, though. Look, hey,
black
I prefer you buy a Glock than a high point.
But yeah, I think it's maturity, man. Because like I said, you know, but we have to really reflect this right here to everybody. That's why this channel is so important, because if we don't give them that, they'll go through life thinking that, yeah, you know, that's how you're supposed to act. Like, no. Exactly. If you want to have a great party with gun guys. The best parties I've ever been to were with gun guys.
This is true.
Promise you.
And we probably need to look this up. I would like to know where the safest cities are in comparison to how many
gun
guns
ownership is.
Yeah.
Right.
What that looks
Well,
like.
I think that it's all about when you look at like the inner cities where all the crime happens, it's where people are on top of each other. Because O Block is, I mean, if you look the way that they is designed,
They're the projects.
but the buildings are designed in a way, they're not just like straight buildings and like space in between them. They're like the buildings are all facing each other, and there's like this weird. It's like, and that's how usually all the projects are. They're real congested, and they have a gate around it too, which is always like, you know, goody mob is just to keep people out or keep us in. Right? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you got them in this gate, you got them all congested, and then they're all poor, right? And so that's where the crime is going to happen no matter what.
Right.
Now, when you go to the rural areas and you go to the trailer parks and stuff like that, there's space in between, and they're not congested like that, so you can't bump into your neighbor or they do stuff like that. So it's all about the congestion of people, and I think that's where not just in America, I believe it's where any place in the world.
Just the living
congestion.
circumstance.
Yeah, the living
But I
circumstance.
would bet
and
you the places in the world that have the lowest crime have the least amount of guns.
You think so?
I would have bet.
Oh,
You know, you know what
Switzerland.
did they say? An armed society is a polite society, something like that.
You said the least amount.
That's what he said. That's why I'm saying
I
to the
agree with you.
contrary.
We're going to have to look it up.
Yeah, we got to look that
I
up.
would imagine.
Well, see, because now, so I think there was it's been a few years now, and we probably can roll it in on screen fact check or something like that. But there was a year that, you know, London, there's no firearms out there, but they out murdered the state of New York, right, with a knife play.
But Canada, they have virtually
Yeah, the Canucks are good people.
they have virtually no crime.
Yeah.
And their gun laws are strict. They're crazy.
Yeah, they're wild.
But it's still pushing the narrative. Like in America, man, you know, you got to understand. In America, everything that we see is about getting money. You know, and desperate people do desperate things.
Yeah.
And that's just it. Because, like, if everything is dictated on how much money you have and what you should have, we live in an economy where there's a food, and you live in the city just because you can't afford to eat it. And so the thing about it is desperate people do desperate things. So when you in a city and you need, like you said, you live in an old block, but who wouldn't want to move out or at least had a dream to move out, you know, or want a car or whatever. And then you see somebody come, they high side, then it's like, yeah, it's time to get it. Even though this person may not have any money. But the thing about it is like I said, do I believe that? I think no, because people, Chicago, they got tough gun laws. New York, California.
That's exactly what I was getting at.
They still getting to it. Georgia, like I wouldn't want to get. If something's gonna happen, it's not gonna happen in the South.
Mm-hmm. Now the South is very but see, to your point, right, with the gun laws and the like, right. At the end of the day, these are laws, right? And laws only apply to law-abiding people. Criminals, by definition, are not amongst that group. And so you can apply gun laws, and it's going to be people like you and I that, okay, well, we won't buy short barrel rifles anymore. But buddy up the block, he's not going to abide by that. And so, you're not really removing the teeth from the wolf by putting these things in place. But that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, that's definitely a good discussion now.
Yeah, I always say people, when I first started collecting guns or buying guns, collecting, but they're like, why are you buying so many guns? I'm like, well, if my neighbor got 2 ARs, I want 4. Like, if I can own them, if my neighbor got a rocket launcher, I want 2.
I need a tank.
Yeah, I want everything.
Do you think that's situational awareness?
That ain't no situational awareness.
That's just keeping up with the Joneses.
That's just me exercising my rights. You know what I'm saying? Like
that part.
Like if they can get them, I can buy them too. Like I can train too. I can. We're gonna get a tank. You know what I'm saying? We gonna get a tank.
Trying to get a helicopter, man.
Yeah, helicopter.
Sheldon lives in the burbs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. Where that tank gonna go, Sheldon? You gonna park that in the garage?
He got a nice garage.
You gonna park that in the garage? But that's what I mean. Environment can really play a part in your situational awareness. You going to movies at Avalon in the suburbs of Kennesaw, you may not have that same worry. You know what I mean, of your environment, of where you are, the danger that can happen. You just don't. When you're you're a high school student and you're in the inner city, your energy is different than a high school student that's in Marietta.
Yeah, Alpharetta.
Or Alpharetta. Or Bucket. It just is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you really got to talk to people where they are. And it's again, we're gun guys, so we think of what if everywhere.
Right, everywhere. Yeah.
We could be in Nobu, and we're like, all right, where's the exit at?
Sitting with my back.
I'm
trying to face the door.
How many steps does it take to get over here? Yeah, that's a strong man over there. I might got to take him out first. We're gun guys, so we think of what if, and we talk like that.
Right.
But the majority of the world, they don't move like that.
They don't. I tell people all the time, and it's probably gonna tell how old I am. But when I was in college, we went to Freaknik in '94, and
I wish I could have been there, man. I need a time machine. Bro.
Oh my God, it was a great time.
I know it had to be.
But
that's another episode. Somebody
got into I guess an altercation or a fight downtown at Underground. The Underground was pumping. They started shooting. Everybody was just running. There was some little girls down there, and so when they started shooting, I hit the ground.
Right.
I look over, the little girl on the ground too. Somebody taught her to get on the ground. But that was her situation, and that was her life in that situation. But everybody else was just running straight up running. You know, it didn't make any sense. But she knew. So how did the kid know? But the adults didn't know. And I think, to your point, I think you're right.
Environmental.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because it's a hard balance between how far you even go with it.
Yeah.
Because it's some guys out here that'll look at us like, y'all not doing enough.
Yeah.
These people doomsday prepping. You know what I mean? They preparing to build their bunker. Talking about situational awareness. And so to your point is when you live, what you saying?
I know where they live.
Do you know what a bunker is?
Right. When you get into
I'm gonna come get it.
You out in public and now something breaks out. Majority of people, they're gonna panic and they're gonna run. And so I think that probably be the hardest education ever.
Yeah.
With society.
Yeah.
Because so many people are living as they should, probably without fear.
Right.
Yeah, but you don't want to live in fear though, and that's like, it's stressful. But you just want to be like, I'm prepared, and now I'm moving on. Like, cause I got into the whole thing of the extreme prepping and then trying to get my family into it. My wife's not going for it. She's like, that's what you do. You protect us. I'm like, all right. But yeah, so I can't wrap her into it. And that's right though, because she's supposed to be living a carefree life. You know what I'm saying? But I stay, make sure the family's all right, make sure the family's safe, but also still enjoying life. I can't get wrapped up, especially in the social media, especially in the algorithm, getting caught up in the algorithm and letting them determine my mental state. It's a dangerous thing. You got to take a mental health month, week or something like that and break from that. When you come back to it, you be like, oh, this is all just BS, because the real world ain't really that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say firearms, at least for me, was kind of like the entry point to that preparedness, like the big picture preparedness. I got a gun. Okay, now situational awareness. Now, again, more what ifs, contingency thoughts, right? But to your point, right, you don't want that to shift your entire worldview, right? You don't want that to define who you are as a person. So I think the motto is, plan for the best, prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
Right. And even that's subjective.
No, absolutely. It's going to vary person to person.
And at some point in time, we're going to talk about it with the gear that you have on. Yeah. Even, you know what I mean? That part is subjective. The levels of how aware should you be? How prepared should you be when these situations arise? Yeah. Right. It's been shootings in movie theaters,
churches,
schools,
Kroger,
malls, churches, Kroger's. I put the S on that thing.
But you must be from up north.
But you can definitely, like, for me at this point, I've been doing it so long, I can always identify a gun guy.
Yeah, you can spot him.
Walk different. I'm sorry, man. Walk different. But it's just like you talking about. Talk about gun stuff. Really, for us, like, preparedness has always been the cornerstone of what I wanted it to be and be for. Like you said, can you make people buy into it? I had to make it fun for my kids to participate. Your wife is not going to participate because it's not fun. Like being scared all the time. My girl, she be quick to tell me. I mean, I don't hear crazy shit. But the thing about it is, but at the same time, you get that luxury of saying that because you are the one. Even though they act like they're not listening, they're listening. Like they'll fall in line really fast. Yeah. But if you wasn't doing it, because one thing about it, you the man. Like you being the man, and even though she may not be spending all her time doing that, guess who has? And at the end of the day, she's listening, because they always listening. And so when it's time for it to happen, that'll be your biggest supporter in this whole preparedness movement, because people, like you say, we have to make sure we maintain our existence in the preparedness community. I like I tell people all the time, I'm not really a gun guy. I'm not really. We're prepared. We're prepared people. That's who we are. And so my thing is, if it goes bad, we going to the farm. Like we really setting up. We're gonna make sure that we're good. I don't hunt because I just want to kill animals. I want to know that I'm never gonna not be able to feed myself.
It's a skill set.
It's a skill set, right. And we don't need those to be diminished. Even think about this right here. Back in the day, people didn't have a chance to go take a whole contractor course, take a medic course. You didn't have a chance to do that unless you were in the Army or you were the police. But that should be something in the community that we do, just because you need that skill set. You need to show up for your family first.
Yes. So you bring up a good point. How far do you go with situational awareness? How far do you go?
Well, I mean, so you touched on the medical component, and I think that's something that's largely overlooked with situational awareness and preparedness, right? Because we carry these tools to make holes, but how many of us know how to stop that bleeding, right? And I think that's probably more of a valuable skill set. The chances of you using a firearm or somebody else having used one is probably leaning more in the other direction, right? And so that's a skill set that I think is also valuable in a situational awareness and just a preparedness skill set that I think is often overlooked.
I agree.
Because how many gun guys shoot people?
Right. I mean, we're the most responsible among those with firearms, right? Because we understand the ins and outs of it, and like you said, the legalities and the weight that comes with that.
And here's the thing I want to ask you. I want to ask you, Colin. Think about this right here. And like I said, this is an immature gun owner. This is not a mature gun owner. You're in a mall. There's a shooting. Okay, let's say you shoot the bad guy. You put him down, and the cops run in, and guess who holding the gun? Like, what does that make you?
Makes you the gunman.
Yes.
At least at first sight. I mean, if I'm a police officer and I run in and I see you holding the gun, I'm thinking that you the guy that we got to call about, not the hero, right?
Easily. As a brother.
Yeah.
They're first, when they see you on site, they not holding their hand out.
Look, you better have that gun holstered or put up by the time they get there, boy, I tell you that.
And I think do you think situational awareness is just for you, or for everybody? Because you have to keep reiterating it to your children.
Yeah, I definitely got to train them and think that. I let them be kids to a certain extent, but also say, hey, look at this situation over here. Look at this over here. Look at this guy. That seems kind of weird, And again, in Chicago, when I was walking down the street, I'm just seeing some people that mentally are not fit, right? You can tell they got a mental illness going on. I'm like, watch out for them, because you never know what they can do. They could just pop out with a knife, whatever like that. I see videos of that all the time on the internet. So just keeping your eye out, kind of scanning, making sure there's no motions that seem out of place, but still letting them enjoy the world too, because they don't have to. They still got to be a kid. But
agree. So you make a great point. What situations are you preparing people for? It's so many different types of situations. I think for me, it's just being cognizant of where you are, being safe, because again, and I don't know this statistically, how many people own guns? And even if you own them, are you carrying it with you?
Yeah.
Do you know how to shoot it? Can you pull it out? Have you trained to do it? What situations are you technically preparing for in respect to what happens in the real world?
Exactly. Have you ever been called paranoid?
Yeah, I think we've all.
Yeah, definitely so.
I've definitely got that before. Like, why you planning for all this? Why are you considering all of these inclement possibilities? And it's just.
But I have if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, and that's my saying. But a paranoid person is going to make sure the door's locked at night. A paranoid person is going to make sure that gas is in the car and stuff like that. So paranoid people have benefits to that type of thinking.
Right. It's got a negative connotation, but there's some positives to that mindset.
Yeah, but it's good too. Like you said, my wife, she doesn't have to worry about this. She has the luxury of not having to worry about her safety. Because I'm focused on it. But at the same time, I have to be connected with her enough that I know that she don't want to hear about the Benelli M4 I just got. She want to hear about Beyonce, right? So that just kind of switches me off, right?
They both the same price tag.
Yeah, same price, yeah. But so it switches me off where I have to say, hey, let me talk about some other stuff, because I can't get wrapped up in this world where I'm just focusing on the tactical and the being prepared. I have to it nurtures my soft side too.
Right. You got to find that balance.
It gives me that balance where I have to kind of tap into her. So yeah. But yes, this is a good talk, gentlemen, and we got to build upon this, and I want people that's watching this to also share in the comments about techniques, about different tips about how situational awareness, how you do certain things, how you move, and we can build upon that and have a conversation.
Absolutely. I mean, situational awareness. I want to hear about situations that y'all have been in. Tell us down in the comments sometimes when you saw some things that could have went left, that didn't quite get there, or God forbid that they did go left, right? These are all learning opportunities for everybody, right? Because you don't necessarily have to be in a situation to learn from it. So
right, and just being mentally prepared of your being, your surroundings. If you take anything from this from me, again, it's just education. Are you prepared for the environments that you're going into, the people that you're with? Who are you to that? And what's your responsibility?
And I think that's one thing that we want people to take away from this whole conversation is the fact that you're not alone. We are the people. We're the people talking about these things that people don't talk about, but you need to hear it from people that reflect you.
Right. Yeah. It's an important discussion. And I think we've touched on a lot. I think there's probably a lot more that we could touch on.
Oh yeah, definitely. And this episode got real serious, bro.
We got real serious.
Somber. It's a serious topic, though.
Yeah. It is a serious topic, but I also want to make sure the next episode we get a little lighthearted, but also send us suggestions and topics that y'all want us to talk about, that y'all want us to bring up. If y'all want to do some reviews or gun reviews and stuff like that, because just other topics, other areas that we can touch on that y'all want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, no, as usual, it's been a pleasure to have this discussion with you guys, and again, I hope that this brought some value to you as a viewer. Hopefully, it's got you're thinking a little bit, right, keeping your head again on that swivel. And again, if there's anything that you'd like to see us discuss or kind of revisit or elaborate upon, we'd be happy to do that. Leave a comment down below. And as usual, right, everybody's got their individual socials. You can find that in the description. Yeah. But once more, we are the people.
Yeah.
That's the podcast.
Check out wethepeople.tv. We're going to have merch up there real soon. It's going to be fly. Support that. And we're going to have links to everybody's social media.